Hello, friends. Welcome to the Basement Chronicles, week 22. Week 22. Megan is here with me today, and we are going to be doing 3 projects. Let's keep our fingers crossed, with 3 sample jars of Fusion mineral paint.
We haven't done this in a long time.
We haven't done it in so
It's
long.
like actual years, I think.
It's been years. It has been actual years.
I remember that you did like a little medicine cabinet. That's the last time I remember
Yes.
you doing it.
And you know, we wanted to revisit this because I get questions all the time about like, well, how much can I paint with a sample jar? So today I hope that by the end of this little thing we're doing, you'll be able to see just how much you can paint with a sample jar of Fusion mineral paint. So welcome in. I'm so glad you're here. Let us know if you have arrived and are watching, and let Megan know
How much you love her.
how much you love her. Say hello, and we're gonna get started. I can't wait to see how many folks we have watching
We
today.
got Shannon, Mary, Sharon, Susan, Jane, Deborah, Amy. And those are the only the people that are announcing themselves.
Oh my.
There's other lurkers, I guarantee.
Guarantee.
I know I like to lurk. other
Guarantee.
private
Are you a lurker?
Oh, yes.
Are you
Yes.
a lurker?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I don't interact.
I confess I'm a bit of a lurker
I
too
just
on YouTube.
interact enough here. These are my friends. I don't have room for more friends.
Do you watch our YouTube videos like later?
No, absolutely not.
Never.
Absolutely not.
Well, I guess I'm kind of glad about that
Yeah.
because, you know, you are the best editing person here regarding projects and how they look. So
Thank you, Mother.
yes.
So you're saying you don't want me to go back and watch
Probably
and be like,
not. No.
that's, you gotta
No,
go
Mom,
back
you
and fix
shouldn't
it.
have done that.
I usually
Although
can tell in the moment.
you usually let us know right while it's
I
happening.
do, in real time. Sharon, it's super hot here too, and so humid.
It's the 3 H's
I'm
here
blessed
in Western
enough
New York.
to have air conditioning in my bedroom. I cannot complain too much. At least I have a place to retreat to. But I'm gonna tell you, when I open that door, I might as well be opening the door to an oven. It's like,
I know.
it's crazy.
You know what? We're just not used to. It's so funny. I was talking to my friend Jane this morning, and we had an interesting conversation. And I was like, she said, "Oh, it's 75 here already," and I said, "I know, it's 76 here already." It was 8 o'clock in the morning, and then I said it's going up to 90 something today. She goes, "Yeah, it's going up to 90 here today." And I'm like, "Jane,
It's not the
you're
same.
in Georgia.
Yes.
We are in Western New York."
And I'm telling you, for those of you who were at our retreat when it was on a super hot, there is a big difference here when it's super humid. You are standing
Yeah.
still sweating.
Raise your hand if you came to that retreat
Yeah,
last
it's all
summer.
about
It was,
warm up
that's when we
space was-
decided in October, I don't care what time of year it is, we are never doing it outside
No.
again.
But
Or-
October will be beautiful.
It's gonna be
So
gorgeous.
beautiful.
Okay, so we did want to revisit this little Fusion thingamabob. I know I really don't do a lot of painting, like straight out painting tutorials on our regular Facebook Lives, but we're pretty excited because Fusion is announcing 9 new colors that are launching. We don't have them yet. They've been shipped. They're here. We can ship them out on the 23rd. But I get it that if you're not right here seeing the samples that we have painted up with new colors, it's really hard to tell from something on a computer screen exactly what
Yes.
color that is. So
And
what
the lighting here is different than the lighting where you are. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's true. That's why lipstick, I mean, always walk out like to the door and look
That
at
does
yourself.
help.
It
Or in
does
your own
help
house.
lighting.
To
Yes.
stick home. Janine, to answer your question, I try to keep, if I'm going to be on camera, I try to keep it behind a paywall. So if you join one of our paid private Facebook groups, you may see me do something with Mom.
Yes. Anyway, the Fusion new color launch. 9 new colors are coming, and they are beautiful, warm, rich, moody, deeper tones that I think are going to round out our Fusion collection so beautifully. But one of the nice ways to kind of get a sample of and get an idea of what all of those colors are, do they look good together, is to order yourself a set of all 9 samples. And they're not going to go to waste.
Or
I
just
promise
whatever
you.
one's appealed to you.
Yeah, I promise you. I'm going to show you how one little sample jar will do a nice project for you. So they are available on our website right now for pre-order. Again,
yes.
we'll be shipping the 23rd. So let's get this party started here. These little samples are basically, they are 37 mLs, 1 ounce. Some of them you open, you may have more than another jar. That's just a bonus. I know people expect these to be filled right to the tippy top. They're not always. They definitely are measured out to 1 ounce. And like I said, very often Fusion generously fills them more. So you may get 1.5 ounces. Sometimes you may get 1.75 ounces. You never know. But I know
you will get at least 1.
You will get at least 1 ounce.
It's what they call a generous pour.
It is a generous pour. Yeah, it is.
You're paying for that 1 ounce, but if you get a little extra,
that's just a bonus. It's a Fusion bonus.
Yes.
So, one thing that I have done, I picked out 3 colors, and let's talk about our color choices here today. I really did not want to do a lot of heavy prep with these because, it's like 90 degrees. So this was a little shoe shine caddy stool, and it had the cast iron shoe thing on the top. I had JR take that off. And this was so covered in dirt. This was a barn find.
Well, that was actually the one we had growing up because Mom used to make us shine her shoes every morning before school.
That's where all the fights came in.
Yeah, so
right?
when I tell you, it was dirty from years of wear.
Or nowhere, actually.
Yeah, Mom would not leave the house without a shiny pair of patent leather Mary Janes.
I put you guys in the outfits for sure.
Yes, you did.
So we have this little stool. We have this little table. I have 2 of these actually, and I bought them for $5 each at a garage sale, which we don't ever do garage sales anymore. And we just happened to pass by one, and I'm like, whoa, stop the car, and I grabbed these 2 little tables because we always need little tables, and I have a custom job coming up where we need lots of little tables.
And if you look back through our archives hard enough, you will find some videos of us interacting if you are that interested.
You can.
I hope that we don't disappoint.
Always is the
barn quilt.
Barn quilt on YouTube.
You'll see me through a couple different hair colors. But you can find them. Mary Jo had a facial today, excuse me.
Mary Jo has
late.
facials every Thursday.
She's late. And today is not even Thursday. It's Wednesday.
That's right, Mary Jo. It's not Thursday. She has her facials on Wednesday. So this is a little reliquary box, we think. Our picker lady actually got this for us, and she said it belonged to her great uncle, and he was somehow affiliated with the Catholic Church, and she thinks that it held like vestment. I'm not Catholic, I don't understand, but that it held like in their home, it held like stuff for communion and that sort of thing to be done at home. So we're going to start with that. When I am trying to paint with a sample jar and get the best coverage, I want to choose a darker color. So I'm going to do this box. Well, no, I'm going to do my table in ash. I'm going to do this little guy in, this is, let's see, blue pine. And this stool we're going to do in Bellewood. Now, why am I choosing a medium to darker tone to go over this wood? Because I would have to use a lot more coats if I were using a light color. If I chose Victorian lace or casement, naturally, anytime you paint light over dark, you're going to have to paint extra coats. That's just the way it is. So here we go. It's a fresh jar. I have not added any extra to this. I've got what I've got here, and I want to be able to get this onto my surface here to grab my paint, because one of the tricks to painting is I want to be able to choose a brush that is appropriate for the size of my project. So I don't want to use a tiny little brush like to paint this. I've got a lot of surface area, so I'm going to choose a wider brush, and that's going to get my paint on there faster. So I have a little zebra angled brush here. We're going to go with that. I love these too. And I'm just going to pour this paint right out, and then I'm going to leave it sit upside down so that it drains out. And if I have to, I will get in there seriously with my finger and wipe out that paint if I have to make this work. So let's tip it up on the side here. And Megan, you might want to check that camera angle and see if we can get it pointed down a little bit.
You may have to tilt it just towards the camera, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just tip it forward like that.
But we could also bring that.
I'm just looking to see what it looks like. How much closer would you like it?
Well, we're doing pretty close. Oh, that's good. That's
Okay.
actually really good.
Jane's mom used to test the way they made their beds every morning by bouncing a coin off them. And she still makes her bed like that to this day.
Were you in the military? Was your mom in the military?
Well, Jane was in nursing school, so
Oh,
she already,
okay.
but she already was way ahead of everyone with making beds.
Okay, so how did I prep these? I prepped them. I had mentioned this little stool. I gave this a really good scrub down in our utility sink with TSP. I scrubbed it down a couple of times, and then I put it out in the 90-degree sunshine to dry out. And this piece has just been lightly sanded and then cleaned with TSP. We basically do the same thing for every furniture piece that we paint.
Every once in a while, there'll be some extra care that needs to be taken.
Exactly, which is, Megan?
Oh, now if you are worried about bleed through, you're going to use a shellac-based primer.
What should we do? Let's think about what we should do before we paint our entire dresser.
Oh, of course you want to test a little spot.
Yeah, do
To see
one
what's
drawer.
happening,
Do,
yes.
if I was concerned about bleed through on this
Hi,
dresser,
Melissa.
I might just do one drawer. And I'd prep it, I'd prep the whole thing, then I would put a coat of paint on one drawer or on the side and leave it and see what happens.
Then if you need to move on to a shellac-based primer.
Then,
or
yeah.
possibly your ultra grip.
Your ultra grip. Yeah.
Yes, those are basically the two main things you would have to
Yeah.
do additionally.
So, man, I'm loving this. I love that Fusion has a built-in top coat, so I really don't need to seal these. The only time that I seal is if it's a tabletop that's going to get heavy use, if it's a
Kitchen cabinet,
a kitchen.
perhaps.
Well, yeah, kitchen cabinets. I will seal maybe a dresser that's going to get a high bit of use.
Mary Jo would like you to know that she gets a facial only once per month.
Oh, once a month. Okay.
I get one every day. That's a fun fact about me. That's how I start
You get
every
one
day.
yourself.
Yes, I really actually do.
It's nice to pamper yourself, isn't it?
I do. My skincare is a full-time job, as you know.
I found an awesome facialist. Oh my gosh, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to see her again until August, the first part of August, and I cannot wait. So this is going really well. I do like to think about, I do try to do two coats minimum. I just think that it makes good sense. And of course, you want to let it dry. It will dry to the touch very quickly, sometimes within, 15, 20 minutes, depending on the conditions. And, but I typically, if I'm doing furniture, I like to wait a day or two between coats and let the paint just kind of dry on its own and rest up a bit between coats. Now you'll notice the reason that I can get away with so little paint is I am not overloading my brush and I am not putting a large amount of paint on the surface of this. You know if you have too much paint, if you are getting a lot of drips down the side or over the edges. But I get some paint on my brush and then I brush this out. I don't want to overwork my paint. I just want to get it brushed on and brushed out, but I don't want to keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because as this paint dries, the wet paint may lift up areas and that are starting to dry, and it's going to give you kind of a yucky finish.
The color's really pretty.
It is pretty. Fusion is self-leveling, which means that as it dries, it is going to level out, and we like that about it too.
Look how far this is going. It's
crazy, isn't it?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, TSP, Mom. Would you like to explain what that is?
Sure. TSP is an industrial strength cleaner.
Mom, what does TSP stand for?
I believe it stands for trisodium phosphate.
Beautifully done.
Yes, I believe so. Now, it is industrial strength cleaner, but now very often you're going to find it without the phosphate. Phosphates are the things that make soap soapy and make you have to rinse that soapiness off of there. So if you want to make sure that you are working with a TSP substitute.
And that's also what makes you really, like when you're using a real TSP, you have to wear like gloves.
Well, you
right?
also, yeah, and you should with the substitute also.
I'll bring that to HR's attention because I've seen a lot of people around here working with it. Sans gloves, so.
Is that right?
Sounds like we may have to have a staff meeting.
We might have to get OSHA involved.
I may have to make a video about safety that we all need to sit down and
I
watch.
would love that. Oh my gosh.
And maybe I'll have Jonathan help.
That
with
would be so fun. Safety and the rules of the shop.
And as you know, Augie has been working on 3D animation, and that could come in very handy for some characters to help us learn about safety.
Keeping that back door
Yes.
closed when the air conditioning is
Yes.
on. Yeah, absolutely. So I still have lots of paint in my brush, and do I have complete coverage? No, I do not, but I'm okay with that. If you put so much paint in here and you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna try to get complete coverage with one coat, you're just barking up the wrong tree, I'm telling you.
Susan, sorry that I was getting silly there. I just want to make sure that we gave you the description you need. We carry the TSP substitute here at L&J Goods. It's a concentrate that you add to water. You just need a couple capfuls, and that's really what we clean everything with because it really cuts any grease or dirt, grime. It just works better than anything else.
It really does. It's a little bit of a deglosser as well, but I don't want that to be your only means of stuffing. A deglosser, and someone asked this the other day, well, can I just put a deglossing agent on there? Like,
Why? When you can use TSP alternative.
well, but you can also, literally, it takes, to do a dresser, like, if I'm gonna sand this dresser down, it's gonna take me probably 10 minutes.
We don't have time for that.
Yeah, so, no, I would sand it. Don't use a deglossing agent.
Oh,
Just-
they're saying they use it instead of sanding.
Instead of
I
sanding,
see.
thinking, oh, it's gonna save some time, it's gonna, so.
The TSP by Fusion, I don't think has a smell at all.
It does not, no. And it's also that no rinse formula, so you don't have to worry about, having anything
Any
in there,
residue.
any residue that's going to be a resist for the paint. Okay, so there's our one little guy. Now, I don't want to waste one bit of this paint, so I have prepared some damp paper towels. I don't want to put this in water between coats because I don't want to dilute the paint that's on here. I want to be able to use this and use what's on my little plate here. So we're going to do that, and you know what I did forget to put some saran write up.
Would you like me to get some
Sure.
stretch
So-
tight?
Stretch tight. So see what I did is I actually put this upside down and I got a whole bunch more paint. And Megan, maybe some paper plates as well.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so let's get started on this guy. We have a lot of paint left over. So this is the color Bellewood, and I am just tipping this right upside down. I'm probably not going to need all this, so I'm going to pop the cover back on. Well, first I'm going to wipe off my jar before I put the lid back on. Yeah, like I ever do that. Alrighty, and so let's get going on this guy. I'm going to tip him upside down and do the insides of the legs first. And I'm going to just work with, I guess I'll just work with this brush here. This is another of my zebra brushes. And honestly, I tippy turn my pieces every which way to make sure that I'm getting all of the upside downs and inside outs of my piece. But boy, there is something about a fresh coat of paint over a barn find that is so lovely. It just cleans everything up and makes it just brand spanking new. You know the end grain of a piece of wood is a little rougher, and it's going to require, it's going to soak up a little bit more paint.
You want me to cover it
Yes, please.
with the paint
Yep.
on there?
Yep, just cover that whole thing. And I have paint in my little brush here, and I'm just literally sticking my fingers in it.
What about on the brush? Do you want saran wrap on that or just leave
Nope,
it?
I'm just putting it in the paper towel. So I'm getting all of the bottom first. I'm not going to do 2 coats on the bottom of this. There's no need for that. But you'll notice you're going to be using different amounts of paint depending on what kind of finish is already on your piece. So this is raw wood. This is just the natural wood. And so it tends to soak up just a bit more of that paint. Where this box right here had an old varnish over it already. So the paint glides on a little bit differently.
Okay, is that a new color? No, that is not a new color. We don't have the new colors yet. What color is that, Mom?
Oh, this one is called Bellewood.
Bellewood, yeah. So it is a newer color?
Yes, this was with the last release. This was just a year ago. I can't believe it's been a year since that last Fusion color release.
Mary Jo, no need to draw attention to it.
What?
That I my head, I think, got in here.
Oh.
Sure, it was nice and close up and great. Okay, Susan, I painted my kitchen cabinets with latex paint 20 years ago. Do you think Fusion paint would be good to use to update them?
Of
The
course.
original wood is coming through around some of the knobs.
Oh, is it chipping? That's what I want to know. Is the paint peeling or chipping? We'll wait for Susan's answer on that.
What will we do in the meantime?
I'm just going to keep applying paint. I love to start upside down because then you can make sure that you're getting all of these upside down and inside out areas, like I said. Boy, this is dry old wood. It is really soaking up the paint. Will I be able to do this with one coat?
Thank you, Tony. These earrings are from Post Accessories. I love her. And actually, I got a mystery bag, and these are something I wouldn't have necessarily chosen, but I quite like them.
They're really dramatic and pretty.
Thank you.
You'll see when you're working on raw wood, like this first coat, like I said, it is soaking right in, but once it dries, we're going to get the next coat is going to really glide on easily. Then these are be all prepped and ready if I wanted to apply a little transfer, if I wanted to stamp on them, if I wanted to do a little bit of decoupage. Or just leave them the way they are. I love that this has a little shelf on it.
Yeah, it's really cute.
It's so cute.
It's just darling.
It's adorable and darling.
Precious.
Oops, I should have tipped this guy upside down. But we will have something to learn from this no matter whether, oh, let's see, well, we'll see if I can do this with one sample pot.
I still think it shows like how far you really can go.
Absolutely. You can see I'm really spreading this paint out. It goes a long way, and it is so much better to have 2 or 3 thinner coats than it is to try to get complete coverage with one single coat. If you're doing that, and if you have drippage over the edges, you're using too much paint. If you're seeing a lot of brush strokes, you got too much paint in your brush. Or you have a crappy brush.
Wow.
That's another possibility. Now, one thing that I might do, I could have done, but it's too late now. I could have left the top of this, the natural
Did
aged.
you already put a coat on it at the top?
It has some paint on it already, but really the point is,
Sand.
yeah, the point is, can I get it covered with a sample of this?
But that's something, like, let's say all you had was a sample. You could say, okay, well, guess what? The top's staying natural.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You sure can.
So Friday will be jewelry day with Shirley.
Yes.
Shirley is very
my
exciting.
Yeah, she is going to have everything all planned and prepared.
She's a delight. I can't wait for everyone to, I don't know if they've met her on camera yet.
They've heard her voice. They've
Yes.
met her that way.
But it's totally different.
Yes.
She's a doll.
Yes, she is. She surely is.
She definitely
surely is.
Yeah. You'll want to see her doing a project more than me because Shirley actually loves to do this stuff at home as well. While I appreciate what Mom is doing, I don't often do it, or ever indeed, in fact, do it in my free time.
You know, gosh, a mom couldn't only dream.
You don't dream of me doing that.
Somebody will carry on her legacy.
Yeah, you're one of a kind. We'll carry on your legacy in different ways, right?
Oh boy.
No, really. Like, you have a great sense of humor, and so do your kids. You know, we all have different physical features of yours. We all love to sing, and we love music.
What was that that just went flying?
Oh, Leah won't see. You'll have to go back and watch it, Leah. She won't be here for Shirley's debut.
Shirley?
She's starting the twins' birthday weekend. It's going to be very fun. They're going shopping.
Uh-huh.
What else are you doing? I forget. You're doing a craft too, right? Is that the mosaic tiles you're doing? They were pretty cute. Susan loves this color.
It's so pretty. It's really a beautiful, kind of neutral green. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm going to try my best to get this, everything out of my brush and into this raw wood for this first coat because I don't want to have to. I want to keep all the rest of my paint in that little jar. So we're going to try to get this coated. love these little pieces, and I love to think of these old vintage pieces and see the marks in them and imagine what a history they must have had. Well, you don't have to imagine the history behind this one because Mommy's shoes were.
No, brings back a lot of painful memories.
Seriously, this was not in our family.
No one thinks. But in this way, the legacy will. Your legacy will live on because now I'll have my kids shine my shoes.
That's right. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to see how that goes.
Leah said shopping, lunch, 42nd Street, glass mosaic art project, baking, plus lots of giggling and laughing.
What a fun day. Well, weekend, right? The whole weekend.
Yes. I would imagine the shoe shining in my house would go over as well as when I wanted to implement the crumb catcher at dinner time. Like we experienced at Harvest.
After going to Harvest.
Yes.
No.
I went to a fancy, nice restaurant with Leah and Miss Shirley, and they came around with a beautiful silver tray and a scraper and scraped the crumbs right out from under me. It was not a brush. It was a blade almost.
Oh,
Yeah, it wasn't a
usually it's
filthy,
crumber.
dirty brush.
No, they
You might get that at places like Zambistro, but not at Harvest.
Megan, don't
I love
say that.
Zambistro. I'm just saying that sort of thing is the next level at Harvest. That's the kind of thing you're getting. And I wanted my kids to start doing that at dinner time at home, and they basically they refused to do it. So that didn't go over well.
All right, so I think I've done about what I can do here. So I pretty much have coated the entire top of this with paint. I'm still getting paint out of this brush, believe it or
It's
not.
crazy.
Wow.
I think if you want your kids to shine your shoes or catch your crumbs, you need to start that at a very young age.
Yes,
It's
you
hard to just start
you do.
something like that as a chore when they're 21 and 19. They often rebuff these things. I can get them to vacuum the downstairs though
Awesome.
and unload the dishwasher.
That is awesome. Okay, so I've wrapped up my brush in a little damp paper towel, and we'll put that aside for the next coat. All right, now here comes the big project. This is almost dry.
I know.
Oh
Not cured. but
Oh, no.
Perhaps almost dry. to the
No,
touch. You're not putting a hot cup of coffee on this.
Cure,
Absolutely not.
cure time for any paint is about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks.
Yes. Then you can put a piping hot cup of coffee on top. Isn't that right, Mom?
That's right.
Without a coaster.
I'm going to start by getting the paint out of my lid.
Jane said our 3-year-old granddaughter says, "No thank you, Mommy," when she's teaching her stuff. At least she's polite. That just reminded me of Jonathan's first soccer game. He started soccer when he was really little, like 4, you know? And his first real game, they lost, and he was not happy about it. He wasn't, throwing a fit or anything, but you could tell he was disappointed. And, they have to walk with the other team and say, "Good game, good game, good game," and slap hands, and he literally just went through and held his hands together and said, "No thank you, no thank you, no thank you, no thank you," to every one of the other teammates.
That is how we learn sportsmanship.
Yes, Jonathan, he was polite, and he did his best to just not cry. So we had to talk about it, poor baby.
You know what? It's hard to lose, but I think it's also important
He
to.
will definitely, yes, and Jonathan is for sure more competitive when it comes to sports than the other boys.
Mhm.
So it was hard on him. Or Augie would be out there cheering for the other team.
Exactly. He would be like, "Hey, do you guys need a goalie? Because
Yeah.
I can play both."
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Augie playing soccer would I just look over and he was log rolling just out in the field.
It was not his sport. was
No, ironically he's very athletic, but he just those kind of competitive team sports like that. Augie's definitely an individual sports player.
it? And a very good athlete.
Yes, he's
Yeah.
a very good athlete. Yes. But for sure, Jonathan had to learn quite a few lessons about sportsmanship. We've had to write a letter to a coach or two, because of course, he knows everything.
I'm almost dry brushing these legs.
He did turn out okay, though, Jonathan did. I swear.
He did.
We just had to. You have to
He's
learn
a pretty
hard
good
lessons.
guy.
So that's why sports are. And again, saying this as someone who's never played a sport in her life, besides badminton with no rules, my kids all play sports. My kids all play sports because I really do think you learn a lot of valuable lessons. And it's nice
Yes,
to
you
have
do.
coaches help you raise your kids.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yes,
I'll take all the help I can get.
you need those. You need those band instructors and the coaches to help raise your children.
And it does provide like lots of opportunities that you might not necessarily have for those kind of lessons.
But what about family court? Now
Well,
that
that's-
is.
Those are other lessons that we learn.
Yeah, so we had an incident on our group text this week regarding a situation with Mom, and I insisted, and then I asked JR, do you remember me ever hiding a piece of bologna to try to catch a bear?
I don't remember that.
And he said, yeah, I remember. And I was mad about it too. So I had to text everybody all right, JR confirms that it did happen. Katie was off
Guilty as
looking for
charged.
the video.
Yeah.
And, but before that, I had to have serious, I apologize. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. But I don't feed bears. I really don't.
Except for that she does feed bears.
No, I don't feed bears.
You know, we're really going off on a lot of tangents here, but I couldn't help but think of that baby raccoon that was in the parking lot this
Wasn't
morning.
it adorable?
There was a baby raccoon in town in the parking lot this morning. Are people leaving? Are you guys done listening to us? We're literally watching paint dry. We might as well chat. There's only so many ways she can tell you how to brush that paint on.
I know, right? But one of the others in the text message, I was literally somebody suggested family court.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
And Ben says, I'll represent you. Or he goes, it would cost a pretty penny for me to represent you. I said,
well, I direct family court. Obviously, I'm the judge and the jury.
I was just I need representation.
But all representation in family court is pro bono. And even my job as the judge, jury, and I don't want to say executioner, but sentencer. That is also pro bono. I don't charge.
And she's very good at it.
I am very good at it, yes. We try not to do it. We do it we do it with the kids.
Yeah.
If they have a dispute.
Hopefully as grown adults we can.
No, we've all decided that could get quite dark.
It's when they say, one of the rule of thumbs in a marriage is you don't bring up anything from 3 years ago.
Well, that's a rule in family court too with the kids.
Oh, you do?
Can't
It is
No, once we've already resolved an issue, we aren't going to be bringing that back up. We're going to try to stick to the topic, unless if it's relevant to the matter at hand,
Yeah.
which it typically is not. And Patrice has a relevant question.
Yes,
Speaking
of
relevance,
course. Yes.
Can you mist it with H2O?
You can, but actually, Patrice, it brings up a very good point about fusion. Fusion is a mineral-based paint. The pigments are natural minerals. So they are proportioned in a way and suspended with these other ingredients in a way that keeps the ash color. It keeps Bellewood color. So you can dilute fusion up to 10% with water is the
So
recommendation.
That's not too much.
And
Not
if
like
you,
Debbie's DIY.
no. So if you've ever used Fusion and your brush is too wet, and maybe you've used the one I can think of is like Bedford, or one of the blues, and you start brushing it on, and it's like, oh my gosh, what happened? It's so streaky, and it's because the pigments are kind of going out of balance, right, with that extra water.
Another relevant comment from Patrice. The blade is less expensive than the brush. Are we talking about the crumbs?
Oh.
So my comment about the brush at Zen Bistro was incorrect. So really, a step up from the blade would be a crumb brush.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Patrice.
Of course, Patrice would know that with her. She's so very cultured, and I'll be honest with you, that was my first experience having crumbs swept out from under me,
Yeah.
and I would like
Mine
to
too.
experience it more. I could use more of that in my life. I felt really like I was meant to be there. I felt very at home. And,
You did?
yeah,
Really?
like I was meant for a
life of elegance?
Yeah, I was meant for a life of elegance and someone sweeping up my crumbs.
I went with my mom and my aunt and my cousin. And of course, my mom will be the first one to put a big napkin up.
Did she do it?
No, she did not.
Oh.
She's like, well, because otherwise I'll be feeding my boobs.
Yeah, that's what she. And she does wear. She is known to wear. She has custom-made bibs that she wears at home, which is the cutest thing in the world.
Just to keep her clothing.
She's
tip-top.
been burned too many times with some of her favorite tops.
Anyway, all right. So
We do need to go out to dinner again, Leah. I guess we don't only have to wait until Mom leaves town.
I would love to go along sometime.
Fine. I'll allow it. Oh, Corey, I would have accepted that.
What?
She said, I'm just seeing it out. Corey said, I love your insides, Megan, which is also very nice. But what she meant to say was insights, and I appreciate that even more.
Yes. Oh, gracious.
But there really was a baby raccoon in the parking lot this morning.
And this really has a lot of surface area, which is another thing you want to keep in mind, especially if you're pricing out projects. I actually had somebody come to me this weekend and said, I have some pieces that I would love to have you paint and blah, blah, blah. And she said, they're really two big bookcases. And I said, pass, because it's a lot of surface area, and they're dark wood, and it would just, all that prep, and there's somebody out there better than I am that would love to spend time on a project like that, but it sure isn't me.
You know what I might do with I have bookcases that I want to do something with.
Uh-huh.
I think I might just do like a nice quality peel and stick wallpaper on the back.
That is actually a very good idea.
I have some that I bought just because I liked it with no idea what I was going to do with it, and I think I might do that.
And you can also, when it comes to the insides of china cabinets or the backs of bookcases, to use decoupage paper.
Oh, totally.
We
That's
do
a great
that.
idea, too.
We do that all the
The
time.
thing is, you still might have to paint behind that. With the wallpaper, I don't have to paint.
That's true. Yeah. I was down to this brush, and I did not grab a wider one, but
Do you need one?
no, it's fine. But so anyway, this little table here is a lot of surface area, right? And when you're dealing with spindles, and then you're dealing with a shelf, it's a lot. I'm gonna be covered in paint. So now that I've tipped it upside down, I can see where I may have missed.
Now that's a nice area for that zebra brush with that nice little short handle.
Yes,
that's
it
the
is.
perfect.
Yes, it
instance
is. I
for
don't know if
that.
I have another one over there or not. I don't think I do. But then when I tip it up the right way, I can see all these little areas like along the tops of the spindles that I might have missed.
In case anyone thinks family cord sounds mean, I promise you it's not. People, we've even had it
It's actually a very
on
loving
stage
experience.
at family picnics, and Grandpa pulled her chair right up. Now I can't hear. So usually, for instance, if Oscar, my sister's son, and Henry, my youngest, they often will have a disagreement, and then, the opposite cousins will represent them. So Oscar's sister will represent Henry, and Henry's brother Levon will represent Oscar. And that's a great way because they can have a conference together privately. And when you have somebody else speaking up for you, it's less likely to get interrupted because they're very quick to want to jump in and say, that's not what happened. But you'll definitely, you always get a chance to speak in this environment. Yes.
You know what? It's actually a really lovely way to learn about listening to other people and their concerns. And we miss a lot of that.
Totally.
In our society today.
100%.
Good old-fashioned debate and critical thinking.
But in a loving and respectful way.
Yes.
I just think it's so important for kids, especially little boys, to learn how to express how they feel in a healthy way, and feel like they've been listened to. And they always, usually with Oscar and Henry,
what happened upstairs.
Yes. Usually with Oscar and Henry, it comes down to one of them feeling a little rejected or like the other one's not paying attention. When we get down to it, that's usually what it's about. And we always resolve with hugs and some tears, but it always is better. Because really, in the end, all they wanted was to feel like they were heard. That's
It's
it.
really true.
That's it.
That's all of us want. We want to be acknowledged. We want people to listen to us. Our feelings validated. Maybe you don't agree with me, but at least acknowledge. And we have had very healthy, robust conversations about different topics, and you come out of it like, hey, you know what? We still love each other. We're individual human beings, and I appreciate where you're coming from. Sometimes you leave and you still disagree, but
that's okay. I think that you know each other better, and I think you can become closer when you say things out loud and try to understand the other person's perspective. All of this is stuff you all already know. I'm not preaching to you. It's just something I like to start it when they're little.
But even as adults, we still have to do that. Mom still has important lessons to learn.
Especially, we didn't necessarily have family court when we were growing up, so
no.
They'll hopefully have a head start.
Or here at Ellen J. Good.
Yes.
Right. I'm gonna wrap this up and get a bigger brush.
Empathy is huge. Lack of empathy is a huge thing that's wrong in the world today. Yes. I agree. It's the source of almost all problems, and not connecting the way that we should with other people. It's very easy. I feel like we here in this virtual environment really do connect with each other, but I think that's a rare thing. Yeah. And so many people are just living in a virtual world now and missing out on that connection and that empathy that we really need. Sure. So that's a no to the mist, Patrice. That's right.
Yes. You are. Yes. Thank you.
Totally, I agree on empathy. It's so important. And we are so lucky. It is so great that all of these cousins are so close. I don't go a day without being thankful that my brother and my sister and my kids all grow up together. And even my biggest boys, my oldest is 21, down to the littlest in our family, Mabel, who's 3, they are truly close.
Yeah, they are. They love each other.
They love each other, and they spend a lot of time together, and I just feel very lucky. I know so many families, they're all over the country, and I just can't believe how lucky we are.
Yeah.
Heather says, agreed. When I was in school, we literally had a debate class. I loved it. And they don't have that anymore. And they should. Debate club is the best. Yes.
You know, and it goes back to very classical education training, like classical back to the age of like Romans and classically trained individuals who they would be trained in the sciences, not only the sciences but in the art of debate. And
It's so cool.
and you learn to take turns and develop your argument instead of just believing everything that you hear.
Yes.
To investigate and
what the
find
world
your
needs
own
more of.
and find your own facts and your own I don't want to say your own facts as if you're making up the facts.
No, but just like to
But to
validate
prepared.
your claim.
Yes, of
Yes.
course. Yeah.
And Heather also had an empathy class. Where did you go to
What?
school? And yes, we should have that. Okay, Melissa has a question about
Sure.
paint.
Yep.
Fine, Melissa. What is the difference in fusion and DIY paint?
Okay. The difference is Fusion has a latex base. It has a very high percentage of industrial acrylic resin, which creates a very hard and durable finish. That's what gives it that built-in top coat. And the pigments are mineral pigments, and it is self-leveling. So that is, it is like, if you want that very consistent, always consistent, smooth finish with your piece, Fusion is the way to go. Not that you can't get a consistent smooth finish with Debbie's DIY, but
It's you need more things.
Debbie's DIY is the most beautiful boutique paint. It is handcrafted here in the U.S. It has 9 ingredients. 9 ingredients. That's it. If I looked at the ingredients on other paint brands, if they even list them, I don't even know if they're required by law to list them. But and most of it, they're natural ingredients. And you might see that Debbie is doing a really fun kind of little social media blitz right now about how safe Debbie's DIY paint is. That it exceeds the standards for the cosmetics industry as far as safety
Which is
and
kind of cool.
permeability into like the nervous system.
Like, I don't use a sunless tanner. I usually mix up a little bit of Queen Bee and what is the other one I like to use, Mom, to mix?
I don't know.
This depends on how deep of a tan I want. And I just use Debbie's DIY. And I sponge it right on. Mom colors her hair with it.
Honestly, there's some really fun videos going around. One of them, I did do a little video for Deb. So we'll see when that gets released, if it does. But so anyway, the other thing is it is clay-based chalk paint.
Yeah.
And because of that, it also dries to a very durable finish, but it has a much longer open time. So that means it's going to take longer to really cure and harden. And it does require a sealer of some kind. We typically would use wax, or we would use Debbie's DIY Big Top.
Yeah, Sandy Blonde, I do. That's a great color for the sunless tanner, Melissa. I agree, 100% agree. Depending on your skin tone.
All right,
And
I'm
the time of
almost
year.
done with my 2 coats on this, you guys. On this
Okay.
one.
Yes, Melissa. So Fusion is definitely more like the cottage colors from DIY.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Now, here is an answer to another question. The DIY cottage colors also have a built-in top coat. They have a little bit more of a satiny finish
Yeah.
than the Fusion does. And I love those colors. I love that paint.
And I
Oh.
would say it's almost like the big top finish.
Yeah.
As
I'm
compared to
trying.
like a
I'm
matte
trying to
top
get the
coat.
last little bit out of here because I just have the front of this.
Joanne, you've missed out on a lot of chat. We had a very chatty day today. I'm glad you're here.
I did put up a new edited video yesterday. You'll find it under the Pentart playlist. I did a little edited video, instructional video using cracking paste.
Oh, good.
So here it is. Project 1 is complete with 2 coats of paint.
Look at that. And that is really good coverage.
It's really good coverage.
Well done.
And I'm telling you, I literally like scraped out every last bit that I could.
Jane said this has been a great video.
Good.
I'm gonna send Mom a picture that I think you will all enjoy. I'll ask her to send it to the text group just to show you what I mean about the cousins in this family.
Okay, so that's it. I am going to get this wrapped up. I don't want my paint to dry at all on my brush. Okay, now let's see what we can do with this little guy. What's our time looking like?
We are at 2:30, so not bad, Mom.
Not bad at all. I will not have time to do a second coat on this little table, but you can already see what great coverage. I definitely have more than enough paint here to go around and touch up and do a little bit of extra coats on that piece.
Right.
So we're almost done, you guys. But I did want you to see, hopefully. So I would say with this one, this little stool, because it was the natural raw wood, it did not have a pre-existing finish on it. I don't know that I could do this entire thing with a sample size because some of that paint already soaked right down into the finish. But we'll see what can happen here. I'm not going to.
Still looks really good.
It really does. But this might be a piece that, like, okay, I can distress it.
Yeah. And you have this beautifully painted crystal tray now.
Yes.
As a side little bonus. That's an additional project that she finished.
It's gorgeous.
Isn't that great? Mm-hmm. Just shows that, look, there's even more paint in there that you could use.
I know. But you can see I'm getting a lot of paint out of my brush still. My most important thing to me was to get that extra coat up on the top because I really thinned it out up there.
The colors are Bellewood, Ash, and Blue Pine.
Blue Pine. They all look good together,
They
don't
do,
they?
Yeah.
So again, we already have the new fusion colors on our website, so you can order those. But look at here, what a great way to use up one of those little samples and test out the colors to see which ones are your favorites.
And paint your old shoe shine stool while you're at it. Give it a new life for your
Exactly
grandkids.
Right.
Tell your kids and your grandkids to start young when it comes to your kid shining your shoes. Do not try it when they're 21.
And crumbing your table. So, guys, I will, once this video gets loaded on to YouTube, I will add all of these links to the description box below. We appreciate it always. If you have not subscribed already, we would love it if you would subscribe and let us know maybe what you would like to see us do next on the Basement Chronicles.
Jane has a quick question.
Sure.
About tattoos.
Okay.
So I have to see if you can see, because she must have seen it when I was holding it. I have 3. This one is just arrows. That's for my 4 sons and my husband. And this, I don't know if you can see this. Hopefully you can. My brother and sister and I all have this tattoo. Mine's filled in at the top because I'm the oldest. And you see this one?
Yep.
my best friend has the same as me with this one. And Mom can explain hers.
Oh, my sparrows. Oh, they're on this arm, covered in paint. These are my sparrows. It took me a long time to decide to actually do this.
Yeah.
And these sparrows are actually taken from a French illustration book teaching how to draw animals. So you see, like, here's step 1, step 2, step 3. So I looked at it as symbolic of completion, or on the kind of on that journey to completion, and of course my 3 children. So that is the story behind my tattoo.
Which one is me?
The one with the biggest mouth.
Ain't that the truth?
So you guys, thank you so much for joining us today. It's week 22. We are not even close to getting this basement cleaned
And we
out.
never will be,
We
so
never
it'll be
will
fun.
be.
That's what we're learning here.
Yes, but I do feel like we're going to have my upholstery area back by the end of the year. I'm counting on it. So I'm going to keep brushing with this Bellewood paint to get the very last smidgen of my ounce, my little ounce of paint
Yes.
out of this jar, and get 2 dry brush coats on my stool. All right, bye you guys. Have
Bye.
a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.
See you Friday.
Stay safe and cool.